What's up, Unfiltered Waters family? Welcome to another episode, and today's guest is incredible. He is a 3-time Olympian, an Olympic champion at just 18 years old back in Rio in 2016. He's a world champion. He's one of the most dominant sprint freestylers and now butterflyers in the world over the past at least decade. He has overcome so many surgeries and injuries and is the true epitome of somebody that just stands up and rises up after a downfall or an injury or something like that. Truly perseveres through everything. And he most recently just qualified for the Australian World Championship team that will be heading to Singapore this summer. And Katie, he's going to be in the 50 fly, the 100 free. And I know we mentioned that he's going to be excited to dabble in the 50s. So talk about how excited you are that he made the team.
I know. It's so fun. We talked about this before of just knowing the person beneath the athlete, which is literally our tagline. But I think it's been so fun to get to know some of the Australians more. Like, we obviously know so many of the US athletes, but you know, Molly and Kaylee and now Kyle. And so, I mean, knowing his personality made it so fun, and I was getting psyched to watch him triumph.
Yeah. And it was, and his personality does shine through in this. And I think like he brought up definitely
he thinks we're crazy.
He thinks we're crazy. He definitely,
you in particular,
me specifically, he does not think we are crazy. He thinks I'm crazy, but that's fine. He brought out the quirkiness in me, but I think like Australians have that little edge to them, and maybe not edge, but they're just like fun. They're light. They enjoy the ride. And I think that is something that maybe we as Americans could adopt just like a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely speak their minds. They're so honest in the best way. Like, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but yeah, I feel like he just says it how it is. I also was interested, like, kind of on the science side of him talking about how he's switched up his training and what he's really focused on in terms of people he's hired. So I won't ruin that, but I think he's changed a lot up for this quad. And so I'm very intrigued to see. Clearly he swam great at the Aussie trials, but to see how it carries him through into LA.
Yeah. And especially seeing how he matches up to, especially some of those 50 freestylers and 50 butterflyers, which is kind of what he might be turning his focus towards.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to do that, by the way?
Exactly. He's a genius. He's got it all. He's got it all figured out. And you guys, without further ado, you are going to learn. You are going to laugh. You're really going to enjoy this. Kyle Chalmers.
Athletes think 8 hours of sleep means they're recovering. But when you're waking up tired and sore all the time, that's your body's way of telling you that it's just not enough. This happens at all levels, from beginners to the Olympic level. Trust me when I say I've been there. You hit every checkpoint, bedtime routine, clean nutrition, hydration, but you wake up the next day flat, foggy, sore, and it makes zero sense. Until you realize that sleep alone doesn't equal recovery. Not if your body's systems aren't getting the support they need to reset overnight. After a while, I learned that high-intensity training floods the body with cortisol, a stress hormone that can interfere with your ability to enter into those oh-so-important deep sleep stages. So even when you get the hours, if your nervous system is still activated, your muscles are still inflamed. Then your serotonin's out of rhythm, and you wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all. And that's a major performance risk for reaction time, decision-making, long-term output, all things that are pretty important for our daily life. And swimmers, our races come down to hundredths of a second. I honestly got tired of the stress, the lack of recovery, just being my new normal. I started using IM8. It's not a sleep aid. It's a complete recovery 16-in-1 supplement formula that supports the systems your body relies on to recover while you sleep. IM8 is filled with natural ingredients, including magnesium glycinate, probiotics, antioxidants, to truly name a few. And this is huge. I swear it tastes like apple juice. It tastes so good, which is really, really rare. And it's not just athlete endorsed. It's built for people who live high performance lifestyles. So if you're sleeping but still waking up tired, your body is not broken. You're just missing the support that it needs to truly recover. So check out IM8. Kyle Chalmers, welcome to Unfiltered Waters.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're pumped. We're doing this. We time traveled for this for you.
Yeah, what time is it where you are right now? Where are you in the world? Tell our listeners, and what time is it?
I'm currently back in Adelaide in South Australia, so got back here yesterday from Queensland. So it gets really confusing this time of year in Australia because we are half an hour behind the eastern states of Australia. So time difference and time zones is really weird. So currently it's 10:26 a.m. in the morning for me. But yeah, it's very confusing, especially coming from Queensland. Queensland don't have daylight savings, so sometimes we're half an hour in front of them, sometimes we're half an hour behind them. So at the moment we are behind Queensland. So I've also time travelled from yesterday and
Nice.
enjoying being back home.
Yeah, when I cannot tell you, I must have checked the calendar invite and my math at least 17 times because I was like, half an hour. Like, it was just
Let's make it as complicated as possible.
how often does it flip flop in the year?
Well, every 6 months, I guess, when we have daylight savings, it will change. So
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely a little bit confusing. Normally, everyone in Australia has a bit of an idea, but trying to organise things in the US is hard. But it's great for me being a massive NBA basketball fan because I get to come home now and watch basketball all day. So it's actually really good. Like you guys have to stay up late to watch NBA here. There'd be basketball on by now, so it's pretty good. But definitely a little bit confusing, especially because Queensland's on the same path as New South Wales or Sydney and then Victoria and Melbourne, and they're not on the same time zone based on daylight savings as well, with Queensland not doing it. So Queensland sometimes is on the same time zone as Sydney, and then sometimes it's an hour difference. So anyway, I'm glad we're able to join each other.
Yeah.
Wait,
We're talking too far ahead of what I'm capable of holding a conversation about, so we've got to change the conversation.
yeah, no, this is
Confused.
good. I do want to ask though about the NBA because
Yes.
obviously this is a great time of year. We're going on. Who is your team and why?
I don't have a team. I do fantasy basketball and I have a keeper league, so it means I keep my players year on year, like the whole forever, really. So my two boys are Tyrese Halliburton and Karl Anthony Towns at the moment. They're my best players and play for Indiana and New York Knicks. So on the east side, we're looking pretty good at the moment. So it'd be cool if it was Indiana versus New York in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm a Boston girl, so
Tatum went down with an Achilles yesterday. I think that helps the Knicks.
Yeah, I'll put aside my differences
But
for you.
I think I was a massive Oklahoma City fan actually in the lead up to Rio. Like I was obsessed with OKC. I loved Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Got Kevin Durant tattooed on my arm, and I remember coming across and racing in the US in the start of 2016 and getting to watch Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, OKC play Golden State. And OKC were up 3-1 that year, and then they ended up losing 4-3 to Golden State. And we were at the Game 7, so I was devastated, probably the only OKC fan in that stadium. And then Kevin Durant ended up leaving OKC and going to Golden State. And as soon as that happened, I decided I no longer wanted to have an NBA team. I just would rather follow players because they move so much, especially compared to Australian sport. Like Australian sports, you stay pretty loyal to your team, the team you get drafted by. But NBA, they kind of chop and change all the time. So it's better just to follow players, I think.
All the time. Wait, so Kevin Durant had a big impact on you if you tattooed him on your arm.
Yeah, he was like in his prime when I was in my high school years. So I was sitting there in the classroom watching basketball all day and he was dominating, winning MVPs. But actually in Rio, I always used to watch his MVP speech and a highlight video of his before I raced. Like that was kind of put my racing suit on, watch these two videos, and then I'd go race. And before my semi-final in Rio, he and the US basketball team came out on pool deck to watch Phelps swim his 200 butterfly, I think was that night. So they were on pool deck and it was like the most nervous I've ever been in my life was seeing Kevin Durant in person just walk in front of me. And then the psychologist that was walking me to the marshalling room saw me freeze and was kind of shocked. And then ended up getting a shout-out video from KD for my final the following night. So, yeah, that was probably one of the coolest sporting moments I've ever had.
That's absolutely incredible. I was going to follow up and be like, did you and KD ever make contact? But you did. So what is the tattoo? Is it just a photo of him or his name?
It's a portrait of him. One of my very best mates is a tattoo artist, and I remember him coming over he used to come over for dinner every Sunday, and I remember on a Sunday him saying, "Oh, I've got some free time this week. Do you want to get a tattoo?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that whatever, like come in," sort of thing. At one point in time, I was getting tattooed most weeks, and he said, "Oh, I really want to do a portrait tattoo this week." And I said, "All right, sweet. I want Kevin Durant dunking, so it's not really his facial features or anything, in a blue Oklahoma City jersey. So I want him to be like all like the black and white that I normally have, and then but bright blue OKC jersey, because that was kind of my time of loving him." And now I've got like Kevin Durant standing on my arm because that's what my tattoo artist decided would have been best for the spot. So it's good. I do have Kevin Durant, but it wasn't what I thought I was going in there for. But
not your vision, not quite your vision.
He's listening to this and he's like, "Dude, Kyle, you told me you loved it." Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's I do love it, but I think I would have loved it the way I had originally planned in my mind.
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, obviously, for people who don't know, I mean, you won gold the next night, so clearly he did a good job pumping you up.
Yeah, and it was funny because I just turned 18, like I did not sleep after the semi-final because I'd achieved my goal of making the final, and I was so excited, and I'd had this interaction with Kevin Durant on pool deck, and the team psychologist, like I said, who'd got the video, was very hesitant to show me the video. Like she really tried to choose the right time. She didn't want to show it to me in the morning when I was going there for training, and she waited until just before my race for that final, just because I think I would have been so much shock and so much hype having that video in the morning that it probably would have taken away from my performance a little bit. So I'm glad she waited to that moment to show it. And yeah, it was incredible. And it was cool, like rocking up to the Olympics for the first time, as you guys would know, but I was just a massive fanboy getting all these photos with everyone. And it's what I explained to people. It's like, you're just such a small fish in a massive pond, like sitting next to Nadal for breakfast, and then Usain Bolt walking into the dining room for the first time. And I remember seeing Phelps for the first time and even sneaking a selfie when we were waiting in a security line to get through back into the village. And like those first few days was just so overwhelming as a young kid, seeing all these people that I'd grown up watching, you know, at these massive sporting competitions. So yeah, Kevin Durant was incredible, really.
I love what you said about how you mentioned just making the final was kind of your goal.
Yeah.
But then you go on the next night to win the whole thing. You're the Olympic champion in the 100 freestyle, which is arguably probably the most exciting race to watch out of everything. So can you kind of explain how you think that happened?
Yeah, two things. We had our trials back then in April, so I had quite a long time from trials to the Olympics. And I remember sitting down with my coach after trials. My big goal was to qualify for the Olympics. I qualified, and then our next goal was, I think we can make the Olympic, or we think we can make the Olympic final. And we kind of worked out a time that we thought that would be competitive to make the top 8 in the world, which we thought was 47.5 seconds. So from April through to July, we just trained that every single day. So I think that helped me a lot. But secondly, I remember racing the heat of the relay on day 2. It used to be actually the 4x1 freestyle men's. So day 2 heat. And I think I was 47.0 in the heat. And I was like, oh, wow, that was incredible. I did not feel like I gave 100% sort of thing, just in the heat, cruised through, swam so fast. And I think just as a young, naive 18-year-old kid that had never swam individually at an Olympic Games, or to be honest, didn't know what it meant to be an Olympian or go through that process, I was able to just go in and have fun and believe that I was going to win. Like from that moment I swam the heat of the relay, I truly believed and knew I could win the race. And I think also there was a lot of things that played into my favour. Like I never grew up following swimming. I'd never really watched the Olympic Games. I didn't know any other swimmers. Like, yeah, I knew of Nathan Adrian from winning in 2012, only because he beat James Magnussen by such a small margin that it became such big news in Australia. But I was able to go into the marshalling room and kind of not know anyone, and it kind of just felt like a another competition for me, and I was just super excited to have my opportunity to race in front of such a big crowd. And yeah, I think it just came very naturally to me in that moment. And I wish that I could feel that way again about a race. Now I feel the pressure and expectation, but then, like as a young kid, I was just able to enjoy it. And I was lucky also, like Cameron McAvoy was the heavy favourite from Australia, and to win that race and having him as a roommate at the Olympics, and he was a really good teammate that kind of introduced me to a few guys, and I'm a talker in the marshalling room, so just being able to find some people to talk to was nice. But yeah, that's probably how I think it came about. And I was able to swim 47.5 seconds, which was the time I'd been training for every single day. So I think, again, like my body was able to take over. Like I think, as you guys probably know as well, like you don't want to be doing too much thinking when it comes to racing. Like I don't. I want to do all my thinking every single day in training, so that when it gets to that high pressure moment, my body's just able to take over. And I truly believe I was able to do that in that final in Rio. Like I was almost 2 body lengths behind Santo Condorelli at the turn, which I think would have been quite stressful if I was doing a lot of thinking, but my body was just sort of working. And yeah, it was a special moment that I've been trying to achieve again for the last 8 years, but haven't quite got there.
I know, you've been just there.
Just there. But you just went, as every time you say 47.5, you just went 47.4 in Norway, right?
47.2 actually.
47. Oh, geez, 47.2. So
Yeah.
Maybe he's cooking.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that. You were on fire this last month. What have you changed, or how are you feeling about all that?
Yeah, it was the first time in my career where I honestly touched the wall and was completely shocked and surprised with my performance. Like normally I have a fair idea of where I am or how I'm going to go. But after the Olympics last year, I had about 12 weeks off and didn't really start training properly until January, like towards the end of January. And I've started with a new coach and gone from doing 9 sessions, sort of 50 Ks a week, down to about 25 kilometers a week across 6 swim sessions, and have changed my training a lot more, just focusing a lot more on technique and speed and my skills. Hadn't done any 100-meter work before that race in Norway. So I think, again, just being a little bit naive to how maybe I'd been training and was able to just swim free rather than maybe what I'd been working on in training, because I hadn't done much 100-meter work. So a lot has changed, but I'm really enjoying working with a different coach. Like I've been with the same coach for 14 years up until now, and I absolutely love the coach that I had, Peter Bishop, but it's been really refreshing and stimulating for my mind actually trying something else. And I think that that's going to be the key to prolonging my swimming career, is now having change a little bit. Like I wouldn't have been able to go back to doing 9 sessions a week and the same sort of training I'd always done. So it's been really refreshing going back to a club program with swimmers that is kind of still at high school and their biggest goal is to qualify for trials. They're there for the love of swimming, and I think that that's been really nice for me also, being able to surround myself with those guys. I love swimming, so being able to share that love for swimming and just enjoy it for what it is. So it's been so good so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So nice to hear. Like you have a healthy relationship with the sport, and your former coach and now your coach now. But Katie and I have kind of been talking about you and your longevity in the sport. To be somebody at your level at the top for that long is so rare. And now with these 50s and now with your new training program, how rejuvenated do you feel after the news of World Aquatics saying there's going to be 50s, coupled with you training with this new coach? Like, are we about to see a whole new wave of Kyle Chalmers that, like, I'm stoked for?
I know.
But is the world ready? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like as a kid, my very best event growing up was the 50 butterfly. That was the first event I'd won a national individual medal in back in 2014. So I think, yes, I would love to do the 50 fly at some point, but at the moment, my sole focus is the 100 freestyle still. And I think I've always let myself down with my front end speed. Like I've always prided myself on being the very fittest person in the race and having a great back end. Whereas now I know that if I'm to be competitive and continue to be competitive, I actually have to be out faster and turn with these guys. I can't be turning 7th or 8th like I've done historically. So that's an exciting shift for me that keeps me going in the 100 freestyle. Like, yes, I have achieved every title there is to have in the 100 freestyle across short course and long course. Obviously, I never broke the world record, and I think that that's probably never going to be achieved by me, but I'm still adamant that I can swim faster, and that's exciting me and motivating me. And I remember, 2019 swimming quite a fast time. I was 47.08 and sitting down with my coach and saying, we've got to be 46. And I truly believe that I can be 46 and I'll be able to retire a happy person one day when I've achieved that. But for now, I'm going to continue to work on the 100 for as long as I can and stay competitive in that. And one day, maybe the 50 butterfly comes knocking, maybe for Brisbane 2032 if I'm still going. But for the near future, it'll be the 100 freestyle. But it was an amazing announcement when they did announce that, just because so many of my teammates that are amazing 50-meter specialists in like 50 breaststroke or 50 butterfly that have never had the opportunity to compete at the very highest level of the Olympic Games, or they've had to go up and try and swim 100 where they're not as competitive in the 100. I'm so excited for those guys now that fully get to lock in and train for their events. And I'm a massive swimming nerd. I'm a massive swimming fan. My personal favorite event is the 50 freestyle. I love watching those guys walk out for that event. But being able to now watch that 4 times at the Olympic Games across the 4 strokes, I'm very, very excited for. So as a swimming fan, yeah, I'm pumped with that news. For me personally, probably doesn't change a huge amount just yet, but maybe one day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so pumped from a fan perspective too. Like when there's something different about the alpha energy, men and women, when those 50 people come out. Yes. Like it's just like I just am jealous a little bit. I'm like, there's the 400 I am doesn't quite give the same like bang on your chest.
Walk them out. Let's get it over with.
It's so hype.
Like some of those girls are just as intimidating as the guys when it comes to warming up for the 50. Like I would be scared standing up next to Sarah and
that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the clear Swedish goggles on, and yeah, she's got a lot of aura.
Oh, the clear goggles
sure.
spook me.
Because you can see into
I
their
agree.
eyes.
Yes.
See the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a mirrored person.
Did you ever, because you were a sweet girl, like did you ever wear the clear ones ever?
No, I always had mirrored. Kyle, what do you wear? You wear like low profile.
I'm mirrored as well.
Yeah.
Low profile mirrored, but
poker face.
I think eyes look so weird when goggles are like compressed onto them, makes your eyes pop out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not a great look.
No, it's
not a beautified look, that's for sure.
No.
Kyle, I want to talk a little bit more about, you basically said you almost cut your volume in half switching coaches. And I think that's for a lot of athletes, I know for myself included, it's really hard to take that jump into something new when you've been doing it as long as you've been doing. Did you have doubts? And if so, how did you overcome and trust?
For sure, I had so many doubts, and I think that the doubts, like especially leading into that Norway race at the start of April, like those 4 months, I kind of went, well, am I just training now to be a relay swimmer because I'm not going to be competitive in the 50 freestyle? How is this all going to go? So being able to actually swim 47.2, like it's my 4th fastest time ever, and fastest time outside of a championship final, was a massive shock for me. And now I truly believe that what I'm doing is working. So I had to have some evidence to back it up, because I've always been a person that knows how I need to train to perform, and I like to do that exact same program or lead up every single year. And I think that's what's made me stay so consistent, is I don't change what I've done. I always do the same thing pretty well day to day, every year. So yeah, it was definitely a bit of a shock and change. And I kind of said, well, this year is going to be, I'm having a baby, I'm getting married, like it's a big year away from the pool. Let's just try something different. And if it doesn't work out, I can always go back to what I've done, but I need to try something different just to stimulate my mind and keep me going. So I've just had to put full trust and faith in my coach, but also the physiologist that's pretty well writing the program and a lot of the programming we're doing is based around how cyclists and sprint runners train. So it's very different to what I've ever done. Like instead of doing, 8 300s short rest freestyle, it's, 8 strokes on a parachute multiple times in a session, or putting my suit on and doing some dives. Like it's very different. But now I actually, like I said, have the proof that what we're doing is working. I trust and believe that I could swim the fastest, or I can swim the fastest I've ever swum in my career, which really excites me for this year.
Yeah, that's so exciting. What a place to be at. For you, talking about the training change and the physiologist that you're working with, how do you train your mind? Because you seem to be somebody that is so in tune with what's going on between your ears, especially before a race. And I'm wondering, for me, that wasn't really a thing when I was swimming. I didn't visualize. I didn't really do much work in terms of the mental side of the sport. So I'm curious for you, is that a big role in your training? And if not, is it now with this change?
I think I'm very lucky. It comes very naturally to me. Like I'm a very competitive person and hate losing, whether it's the warm up or the cool down or any
Are you
sort
one
of
of those guys,
training.
warm up warrior?
Yeah, big time. Like just, I have to be first. And I think that it comes across to racing too. Like I truly believe that if I stand up and race, that I'm the very best in that race and no one can beat me. And that's just how my mindset has always been. And I think there's no point in me entering a race that I don't believe I can win, sort of thing. Like it's always been my mindset that I have to believe that I can win. Otherwise, there's no point in me doing it. And as soon as I start to lose that ability, I think that's time for me to retire. But I get that from training. Like now it's very different because I'm training all of my hard sessions I'm doing completely by myself. So I don't have a training partner pushing me every day. Like it's me, my 2 coaches timing me, and that's how we're doing it. So it's honestly been a lot better for me because I have to actually focus on my technique or focus on hitting the stroke rates and whatnot that my coaches are advising me to do. Whereas previously it's always been about beating the person next to me and doing it however I possibly can, like finding my training partner's biggest weaknesses and kind of making sure I capitalize on them. So that was always something I enjoyed doing, is like have a new training partner come in, realize, oh yeah, they're not very good on the first 15 of a 200 aerobic. So if I beat them to 15, I know that they're going to give up and I'll win. Or, if I work my turns, their turns aren't that strong. So I've got to make sure my turns are way better than theirs every time. And I'm going to be able to win these efforts too. So I'd always just try and find the weaknesses in my training partners to, be able to win every single effort I had. And that made it hard as well because my 2 very best training partners over this last period in time have both been my housemates. So it'd be like competitive, want to beat them in the pool, and then come home and be great mates while sitting around having dinner, preparing for the next training session. So I think I'm very lucky that naturally comes to me, the competitiveness. And sometimes, honestly, I have to dial it down because it gets quite challenging living like that all the time. And I try not to show other people that I'm that competitive. Like I like to be, I guess, gracious in defeat and still be fun in the pool to train with, but it definitely gets the better of me sometimes.
You're going to retire and be like me, where I'm in like a fitness class and I'm on the treadmill and I'm looking at the person next to me, but they don't know that I'm keeping tabs on them, and I try to beat them, and it's like the best victory of the day, but like they don't know. That's going to be you, I think.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I don't think you ever lose that. And
No.
you have to have that as an athlete. Like you want to win. I just don't see the point in going to training, doing all that work, and just like filling up a spot in the final sort of thing and coming 8th or like whatever. Like I want to be there and I want to win.
Yeah. You're making like the whole did you do that? I feel like the capitalizing on people's weaknesses during training was like, sounds really sadistic, but like one of my favorite parts. Like I miss that so much. Being like, if I hang ahead of you for this next week, I think I can break you.
Yeah. No, I think everybody's gone through it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Maybe not like you two.
Just like you freaks.
I'm like trying to really relate with you both, but like I was in my own world.
You and Lochte were just like talking goober to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I was so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Kyle, can we go back? So I'm so fascinated. We don't talk about, specific sets on this podcast or things like that, but you mentioned the physiologist and your coach. So that's not something that we do here in the States for sure. Are you able to share how that came about? Was that something you sought out? And then what do they do for you?
Yeah, physiologist. So he's always been a really close friend of mine, and I've had bad shoulder injuries and whatnot throughout my swimming career. So I've spent extended times out of the pool on a watt bike working with him, just trying to keep my fitness up and do different things so that when I get back in the pool, I'm just as fit as I was when I left, sort of thing. And I guess, yeah, towards the end of last year, I was a bit unsure whether I'd continue on with swimming or how that was going to look now that, yeah, I'm back in Adelaide. My coach had moved to the Netherlands to be the head coach over there. It was a bit of a scary time for me of what my swimming career looked like. And he's a person that I've always trusted and loved and respected. And I guess having a few coffees with him, he kind of said, how about we, change the way you train? Like, you're an older athlete now. It's not about training harder than you've ever trained. It's about training smarter. And as soon as he kind of said that and suggested a few different things we could work on, it got my attention and excitement. And like, I've never been a good diver, so it's more about working on my dives, and then him having such a great background, like I said, with athletics and cycling, and tapping into his contacts and saying to athletics coaches, how many dives do you guys do a session, or starts do you guys do a session, and then putting that into my training session in the pool. Or I'm doing a lot of my aerobic fitness on a stationary watt bike at home. Like, pretty much my aerobic fitness is done outside of the pool, and then I'll do a lot of sauna and heat training, heat around that, like just trying to get warm, and there's some great benefits to that. But I don't know the benefits, and I don't want to start trying to pretend that I do, similar to when we were talking about time zones at the start of the podcast. I just have full trust in my coaches, and like, it's very different. Like, there's no one, I don't think, else in Australia that's working with a physiologist, and having a physiologist that doesn't have a swimming coaching sort of background writing my programs and sessions, it's very different. But it's it's working, and it's just so different than what I've done previously. So
it's fascinating.
That's kind of how that kind of came about, was just him rewiring my brain almost. And I've been able to swim fast, but it's all because of the hard work that he's putting in, really, and telling me what to do.
No, you're working smarter.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Working smarter.
Yeah. Kyle, can you talk about kind of all of the surgeries that you've had throughout your career and how you've been able to bounce back from them? Because I think it's really difficult when you're physically unable to train or be present at practice every day. And I know that it would take a toll on me mentally, because a lot of my confidence came from training. So can you kind of just walk us through all of those and how you're sitting here today going 47-2 in the middle of the season? Like, you're an animal.
Yeah, I've had quite a few. I had 3 surgeries on my heart to fix a heart problem that I had. So I had my first one in 2015, just before World Champs. I had just an ablation, so they go up through your arteries in your groin, and I had an extra circuit in my heart that the blood could get stuck in, and then my heart rate would go crazy, over 200, and it could last a minute or it could last 30 minutes, sort of thing. There was no way of kind of stopping it. So if I was to jump in the pool, I was at a risk of like blacking out and drowning, sort of thing. So as soon as it happened, I had to get out of the pool. And it was happening quite regularly. So 2015, they did the surgery for the first time. It was unsuccessful because I elected to be under sedation for it, because I didn't want to be awake for it. So there wasn't enough adrenaline to my heart. So didn't work. So then I had it again in 2017. I was awake for the surgery, and they were able to put a little burn in the circuit, and it was good for a couple of years. And then 2019 started to come back quite badly again. So the circuit had reformed, and then they ended up just taking the whole circuit out in 2019. But I remember, like, for example, before my 200 freestyle semi-final in Gwangju in 2019, having that happen and my heart rate like being so elevated and feeling so dizzy, and then having to try to get myself under control and dive in and swim my 200 final. So it was just a risk that I could, walk out for my main race or dive in the pool for my main race, and that happened and I wouldn't have been able to finish the race. I would have had to stop, and so that was quite scary. So 2019 they had the circuit taken out, and since then I've been good. Then 2020, we obviously had COVID. So March was swimming really well, probably the best I've ever swum. And then we went into lockdown. And then I had 6 weeks out and got back in the pool and tried to go back to the same level that I was, and injured my shoulder pretty bad. And on my left side it was that year. So they pretty much tried cortisoning every little spot in my shoulder to see whether that would make a difference. They ended up doing take your blood out, spin it in some sort of machine and insert the plasma back into the subscap. I forget what that's called, to try and repair that. But through that period, like right up until November when they finally decided to do surgery, like November 2020, so 7 months before Tokyo Olympics, they finally decided to do the surgery. But I pretty much just did face down snorkel kick every single day. And as you know, swimming's sometimes a pretty boring sport as it is, but having to do face down snorkel kick for like 4 kilometers every single session was the worst thing ever. So I think not only physically did that suck, but mentally and emotionally that sucked so much, especially knowing I was the reigning Olympic champion going in to defend my title and I wasn't able to swim at all. And then, they'd cortisone, I'd swim for a couple of weeks because I'd be numb in my shoulder and pain free, and then the cortisone would wear off and I'd be in so much pain again, like, washing your hair or drinking coffee or driving, like everything was just painful, sleeping. So affected me a lot mentally and emotionally. And then ended up going to see a surgeon towards the end of November in 2020, and the surgeon just said, your shoulder's stuffed, like we need to have surgery. And they took out the torn part of my labrum and took out my bursa out of my shoulder and shaved a bit of bone to make a bit of room in there, and got back to swimming by about March. But it was pretty mentally and emotionally stuffed that year, like in the lead up to Tokyo. So just to make the Olympics was a big achievement for me that I was super proud of. And honestly, that silver medal that I won in Tokyo is my proudest moment in swimming, because I had to work so hard for 5 years, go through all these injuries to get back there, and there was so much doubt whether I would be able to do that again, and to be able to get a silver medal, I was super proud of that. So, and then when I went on to race the rest of that year at ISL and World Cups, and I remember it was the competition just before the final of ISL, my right shoulder started to hurt, and I knew I'd done the exact same thing to my right shoulder. So before the final, luckily in the Netherlands, they put 2 cortisones in my shoulder so I could race the final, and called my doctor and booked in for surgery the week later, and came home and went straight in for surgery for my right shoulder and had to go through the whole rehab again. But that was pretty tough. And then after 2023 Worlds, I decided to go home and play a game of Australian rules football. I'm from a country town, so I went back to play with my mates, and ended up snapping all my syndesmosis ligaments in my ankle. So the ligaments that hold your 2 bones in the bottom of your leg together, I snapped all 3 of those ligaments. So I had nothing holding my bones together. Like every time I was stepping, my bones were coming apart. And I did the middle of my foot and also my big toe. So I broke a little bit of bone in my big toe, did all the tendons. So my big toe now no longer has any flexibility through it. What? And I had surgery, on my ankle at the end of 2023. They put some screws, and I've got this, I forget, it's called a tightrope. So this pretty much wire in between my 2 leg bones, bottom leg bones, holding my bones together. There's 2 tight ropes in there just to be able to continue to walk. So to be able to get my flexibility back in my foot and prepare for the Paris Olympics was quite challenging. But again, it was my own fault for putting myself in a sport that I knew was probably a bad idea, and I was going to risk getting injured in, and ended up getting injured in. And I think I was pretty, again, naive. Like I thought I'd just rolled my ankle, and decided to continue like hanging out with my mates that day. And I remember we went to the pub and had a couple of beers, so that probably made my ankle feel a little bit better. But I remember then trying to get out of a taxi later on in the night at about, I don't know, 2 a.m. I tried to get out of a taxi to where that all kicked on to a mate's house, and I could not put any weight on my ankle. And then the next morning, waking up, my ankle was as fat as my knee, and had to come straight back to Adelaide for surgery. It was terrible. So, yeah, plenty of surgeries and injuries throughout my swimming career, unfortunately.
I feel like you've had more surgeries than a football player, or I guess a rugby player, right, in Australia?
No, we have Aussie rules football, it's called. So we've got rugby and then we've got Aussie rules football. So, yeah, I think I've had quite a few. I've had my fair share. So not many AFL players can say that they've had their syndesmosis repaired.
How can you? I have many questions, but like you casually said that you were awake during your second heart surgery. Can you describe that?
Yeah, they actually give you some sort of medication that's like a hypnotic, so you are not really aware what's going on, but because they need adrenaline to your heart to get it to go into that arrhythmia that was happening, they had to, somewhat keep me awake. So I don't remember it a huge amount. I remember like eventually waking up or not waking up, but coming to it on the bed and being freezing cold because of all the adrenaline and trying to get some rugs put on me or towels put on me. And also, I remember because, like I said, they cut up through my groin, so I was completely naked on the table and there was about 11 people in the room. So that was a big shock for me too when I finally came to it. But luckily the medication allows you to not remember exactly what was going on. But that last little period of it was, pretty interesting.
Wow.
That would be awful. Like you're looking around being like, someone cover me up.
Yeah, like, anybody? Can't you see I'm cold? Like,
oh my
gosh.
Like
Kyle.
just trying to reach for something to cover myself up, but it wasn't fun.
You've been through a lot, my friend. I think LA 2028 is going to be real good to you. Hopefully.
Seriously.
I really hope so. I mean, this is the longest period I have been injury-free for in my swimming career, so I think that's what's helping me a lot at the moment too. Like my shoulders are feeling good. I've had some lower back problems. I've had about 10 facet joint epidurals in my lower back throughout my swimming career, and my lower back's feeling pretty good at the moment. I do have to have my ankle operated on at the end of the year and get the screws and stuff taken out, but I'll be sweet through this year and the lead up to LA 2028.
Do you have like a punch card at this point where it's like you have 9 surgeries and you get the 10th one free?
They're like, oh, Kyle's back. Here you go.
Yeah. Literally know all the nurses and doctors by first name basis, and they just normal process. But yeah, it's been definitely challenging. Like injuries, like I said, it's not only hard physically but mentally and emotionally, the toll that injuries take. And I guess going to training, and especially like I said, when I was doing the face down snorkel kick, seeing my teammates train and me being like, I desperately want to do that, or my teammates race and being there watching my teammates race and not being able to do it, it takes a toll. So it was a rough lead into Tokyo, but I was super grateful to be there, and to get a silver was nice.
Who has been your support system through all of these ups and downs throughout your career?
Well, my number one would have been my coach for so long. Like he was not only a coach to me, or still is, but like he's a father figure, mentor. Like we went through everything together. Like he coached me from a national age medalist right through to, like making my junior teams, Australian junior teams, and then Olympic champion. Like we achieved everything together. But he was, as you spend so much more time with your coach than you do your own family. And we traveled the world together, and he knows me better than pretty well everyone. So I'd say he was my number one supporter. And then family obviously plays a really big part in that. And also I've got a really great group of mates that don't care about my performance. Like, yeah, they want me to succeed and do well, but they care about me as the human and what our friendship, more importantly than how I go at an Olympic Games or World Championships. I know that no matter what happens, they're going to be there for me. So I think, having a good group of friends, and it's hard, as you guys know, like you have success, everyone wants to be involved and be in your life, and you have these sponsors come on. Like as I've got older, it's about choosing sponsors that I know want me for me, and friends that also want to be involved in my life no matter my swimming performances as well. So yeah, I've been very lucky to have a really good support crew, management, throughout my swimming career. And I know that once I transition into regular day life, that all those people are still going to be there and be just as involved as they were through my swimming career. And that's been very important for me, is just finding the right people, the real people that, love me for me.
Yeah. When you think about gritting through, I mean, we joke like all these surgeries, but like each one takes, like you said, this mental toll. And I always feel like when people ask me like, how'd you get through this hard thing? It's because you're just like, well, I just don't have a choice. I just don't have a choice, right? Like the goal is here. It's to be back at the Olympics and winning and crushing. How do you approach that? Like, what is the main driver of, I have my family and my friends, but ultimately when you're in the pool, it's you mentally having to just push through. What are your tools that allow you to do that?
I think goal setting's always been really huge for me. And again, we touched on it earlier, but I've set myself goals that I still haven't been able to achieve in my swimming career, and I'm desperate to achieve those before I retire. So I think that I've always been very, goal driven. Like I think it's very easy. A lot of athletes set goals, and if they don't achieve their goals, it's like, whatever, like they kind of move on. But I think it's very important to set goals, but actually do everything in your power to actually achieve them. And like everything day to day has to be working towards those sort of long-term goals that you set yourself. So just having myself, challenges and goals day in, day out, weekly goals, monthly goals that I can continue to work for, I think, keeps me pretty motivated. And when I'm away from the pool, I don't like to think about swimming at all. But when I'm at the pool for those few hours, I want to be as locked in and focused as I possibly can. And so goals. But now it's kind of like, it's a different a bit, because like I said, I've got a fiance, so I'm preparing to get married and I'm about to have a baby. So I think it's more so, I know that I need to continue to swim and swim well to generate income and sponsorship and allow them to live a great life and be able to come away to competitions with me and I guess support them. So I think that's also driving me a lot now as well, is to be the best husband eventually, but also best father as well that I can possibly be, to allow my family, or support my family really. Yeah.
When is baby due? When is the wedding? How does this all happen in correlation to Singapore? This is a busy year for you. My gosh.
Yeah, it is. Well, wedding originally was supposed to be the 6th of September, but the baby's due, around the start of September. So we can't do the wedding in Norway anymore. So
because Ingi is Norwegian, right?
Yeah, she's Norwegian. Yeah. So we had planned 2 weddings, luckily. So we were going to do one in Norway, and then that was going to be the formal official wedding. And then we were going to do a party in Port Lincoln, like the country town I grew up with my family and friends. So now we're just kind of shifting it that our wedding will be January 3rd in Port Lincoln, and most of Ingi's family from Norway and friends from Norway will come across for that. And then, baby due start of September. I think September 4th is the date at this stage. So luckily it comes after World Championships, which is nice. I timed that quite well, like especially speaking with Caleb and Cam McAvoy, who are both having kids this year, and Caleb's is due during trials, I think, so he's not going to go to Worlds this year, and Cam's is due between trials and World Champs, so his is a little bit messy as well with how he's going to go about that. So I'm glad that I was able to time mine slightly better.
Good job. You're full control over that.
Yeah.
Sleep is the foundation of our health. But as we all know, sometimes life gets in the way. It's hard to fall asleep or stay asleep, or you just wake up not feeling your best, super groggy and tired. Dream Recovery's mission from the very start has been to provide products that help do just that. Wake up ready to fight and conquer the day. They've designed high-quality mouth tape as well as dream strips. They've got their blue light blocking glasses, sleep masks, all products designed to help you sleep your very best. I want to talk about the dream strips today. So they've got, of course, their mouth tape. They've got their Dream Tape Plus, But I know so many people I hear are so nervous when they hear the word mouth tape, taping your mouth at night. The dream strips are an amazing gateway to get you used to having something on your mouth. It's just a singular vertical strip over your lips. It's not scary, and I can say from my personal experience, I was really scared to try it. And now for the last year, I cannot go without it. I fall asleep faster. My nervous system relaxes because I'm breathing through my nose, as we all should, and I wake up feeling awesome no matter what. So we've got a special code for you guys. It's Unfiltered 30, which give you 30% off of all the Dream products. So try it out and have the best night's sleep ever.
How are you feeling, by the way? Like, how are you? I mean, we talked to Caleb right before they had August, and he just sounded like a different guy talking about it. Like, what are your emotions right now?
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly you change. Like you just have to mature and grow up so quickly. And, even for example, watching TV or movies or the news, and you see like sick kids come up on that, and like your whole mindset changes so much from when you're just watching a movie and that happens. But I'm super, super excited, especially now that we're 24 weeks through. Now it's actually starting to get real. Like, we're preparing to start buying stuff to set up the nursery for the baby and start planning, like Ingy's mother to be across. Like, she's booked her flights to come across and be there for the birth of the kid. And I think it wasn't all that real until now. Like, it's been exciting and, oh yeah, that's going to be cool. But now I'm like, wow, I'm 14 weeks away from being a dad. Like, it's becoming very, very real and super exciting now. And I'm very like Cam McAvoy is one of my great mates and is going through the same thing. And I have quite a lot of friends and support crew that have had kids very recently. So like even my coach and physiologist have young kids. So just being able to have very different conversations than I've ever had throughout my entire life, but know that people have been through it around me that I can kind of tap into. And it's very weird starting to buy baby clothes and talk about baby things. And I've learned so much in the last 5 months. So it's going to be awesome. And it'll be really cool, hopefully, being able to continue to swim and make LA. Like, obviously no one's a lock in to make an Olympics, especially 3 years out, but it'll be amazing to be in LA and have a 3-year-old kid there as well. Hopefully being able to remember, I have some memories maybe of it.
Oh my gosh. Don't you learn so much just being around so many people having babies. I feel like my husband and I'm about to go through IVF and the whole thing. And so I feel very lucky that there's a village around me who already made the mistakes and already figured out the products and all the things. Like, don't you feel that way? And so it just makes you feel less like on an island. But I imagine at 24 weeks, you're like, oh, it's happening. And have you found out the gender yet?
Yeah, we're having a girl.
Oh, there was a baby girl.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you going to name it Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, that's on the list. That actually would work. We have to choose a name that's Norwegian as well as works in English. So there's quite a few names that I'm happy with. So that could work. I think there's actually I've met Elizabeths in Norway, so that could work. Maybe I'll put it on the list.
I'll add it on. Kyle! I will die if you have your announcement September 6th and it's like, welcoming Elizabeth Chalmers. I'll be like,
and there's a photo of me next to the
She does this all the time. We're in our guest house and she's like, this is now my bungalow. Like, I expect you to put pictures of me all over. So this is what you do.
I know, you'll get used to it. I do want to go back to, though, like mentioning Caleb, who is a dear friend of both of ours. And you mentioned that you were chatting in the ready room, and I myself am a little gabber in the ready room. So I want to know who do you mesh the best with in the ready room? Like, who's your go-to guy?
Yeah, I was sad Caleb wasn't there in Paris. That made it a little bit more challenging, but I was very lucky this year. I had a German guy in the final of the 100 freestyle that I trained with every single day here in Adelaide. So we were able to just stand in the marshalling room for 20 minutes talking about all things Adelaide, which I loved. But Caleb's always been, a person I've loved racing against and has definitely got the best out of me. And we have such a great relationship. Like I remember in Paris after the final of the 4x1, like we went against each other in the heat and then we went against each other in the final, and him just giving me a big hug after the race because we'd both been fourth. So we got to enjoy that moment in the water together. And he was like, I love you so much, big dog. And let's just promise to never race each other again. Like, because we just had so many like pretty fierce battles, I guess, throughout our swimming careers. And he always brought the best out of me in racing, but also in training, like just envisioning what he was doing and doing everything to beat me. And it helped me stay accountable day in, day out. And yeah, I loved racing against him. So he wasn't much of a chatter in the marshalling room though. Like we would chat a little bit, but he was a bit more probably locked in or serious than what I probably am at times. And it's hard when you get to the final of the 100 freestyle and I don't know, there's probably a lot of testosterone flying around in that room and a bit of slapping going on. And yeah,
do you slap?
It's hard to talk. What?
Do you slap?
When I stand behind the blocks sometimes, if I remember, but not as much as maybe I did when I was growing up. But now I just am pretty relaxed, nothing in there. And it's also become a really weird shift for me. Like I remember 2023 we were just about to walk out for the 100 freestyle final, and Matthew Richards from England gave me a big hug and was like, "Oh, it's such an honor to race against you. Like I've grown up kind of idolizing you." And then the Chinese guy, like Pan Chandler, said the same thing to me as well. Like, oh yeah, this is a huge honor for me. Like I have grown up idolizing you. And then Popovici said that to me. And there's been so many people that have said that to me in and around the pool deck in the 100 freestyle. And I'm like, I'm getting too old sort of thing. But I guess their first memories is like watching me race in Rio. I guess their first Olympic memories is probably Rio 2016. And now I'm still battling against these 17, 18-year-old guys, but it's a nice thing to hear pre-race, but it also kind of puts you off guard a little bit as well. So yeah, it's interesting. So, but yeah, there's been a few that I've definitely spoken to at times, and I enjoy it. I enjoy talking. So
yeah. That's my immediate thought. I was like, how do you then, someone's like, oh my gosh, like you're my hero. And then you're about to get up on the blocks and have to go race them. That would definitely like throw me off my intense game. Yeah. Like it's an amazing compliment, but.
Do you think they're doing it to, I don't know, like spook you?
I don't know. Matt Richards, like the English guy, like I said, we've had a good relationship over the last few years. And I felt that was, I could see that coming in a way, but Pan, like the Chinese guy, threw me so much because I firstly didn't even know he spoke any English.
Yeah.
And then, was just not expecting it at all. And it was just as his name was about to get announced. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. But I think, again, like I said, I don't do much thinking. Once I stand behind the blocks, my body just takes over and everything gets shut out. So I wouldn't have thought about that all that much until the race was swum and probably reflected on it with my coach.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you're like the Dumbledore of the 100 free. Like, you know? like.
I don't know Harry Potter at all, so I don't know whether that's a compliment or what that is, but I'll take it.
So it's definitely a compliment, but like, I don't like, Dumbledore is like the headmaster.
Do you know what that is?
No, I just know the name that it's associated with Harry Potter. So.
Oh God, I'm not.
First of all, I love this because I'm always the one. It's like, so like I make a movie quote a reference, and every single time people are like, I don't know. Now you did it, so it makes me feel so good.
No, I'm gonna gas you up. I'm gonna make you feel good. Dumbledore is like, he's the wisest. He's the best. Like he's the most pure and good human being ever. Like he has created this entire world, basically.
He's also like 200 years old. But
that's why I said it also. But you did say that, Kyle. You said you're the old one and the 100 free, which you're not because you're only 26 and you were a baby.
Yeah, that's baby status.
I did say that when I saw that you were born in 90.
She did. 8?
Yeah.
98.
I was like, oh, Kyle's a baby.
But then, like, you go to the marshalling room now and you tick your name off and you see all these guys that are like 2004, 2005, whatever. I'm like, oh, there's no one in the 90s anymore.
Yeah, no.
Well, even in Tokyo, for example, like Caleb was the oldest in that race and then I was the second oldest in Tokyo, and that was 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
What were we, 22?
I know. But anyways, to wrap up my point, it's a great thing to be Dumbledore.
It really is.
Like you've like led all of these people to
Yes.
their success or have been a part of it. So anyways,
Yeah.
you're
I'd
welcome.
like to think I contributed in some small way to the change that's happened in the 100 freestyle from, historically just going out as fast as you could almost and hoping to hold on to
Yes.
now like swimming a bit more tactically and trying to
Yeah.
get that back end down.
yeah, you're like a sniper reeling them in.
Yeah, but now they're reeling me in and going past me.
You just gave away your new plan, Kyle.
No, I'm giving away too much.
All right, well, we're going to go into our little power play section, which is just basically rapid fire, fun things, mainly non-swimming. So I'm going to ask the first one. What is a guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
I love the Hangover series so much. Like I've watched it so many times, and even yesterday I flew home from Brisbane and like pretty tired from the training camp, and putting the Hangover on and laughing out loud on the plane. Like I just get so embarrassed catching myself laughing out loud. Like look next to me, like. So I think probably the Hangover series would never get old for me.
Do you have a favorite moment of moments that just like get you every time?
I think any time that Alan talks on there is just like the greatest thing. So
So
like,
good.
there's not a specific moment, but yeah, anytime he speaks, it's great.
Yeah, so good. Great answer. You being an Aussie and coffee culture being such a big part of Australia, what is your coffee order?
I go for a large latte with an extra shot, but only when it's barista made as well. I hate going over to Europe and it's like the coffee machines where you just press the button and it comes out. Like it has to be like a barista made coffee if I'm to order coffee out. Otherwise, we have, I don't know if you guys have it, but Moccona instant coffee. I'll just have that at home rather than having you don't know what instant coffee is?
Like where you have the little filters and you put the grounds in? Is that what it is?
No, it would be like, I think Nescafe do it. I don't know if you guys have that either, but you kind of like would just scoop it out with a teaspoon, like a couple of, and then you put a little bit of milk in and then just boiling water on top of it.
Oh,
Yeah, no, we don't
Yeah,
have that.
instant coffee. That's what we call that in Australia.
okay.
Oh, that sounds pretty easy.
It does sound easy.
can
I'm
see
trying to
Super
think.
easy.
I bet there's coffee people though that are like intense coffee people.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, is it a pour over? Is that what it is? Like you pour
it's not
boiling
even a
water onto the grounds.
You guys will have to look it up after this.
All right, we tried
Instant
way
coffee.
too hard on this. Sorry, moving on.
Instant coffee.
You like coffee. There you go.
Okay. Do you guys still do your rookie skits? I'm asking this because the U.S. stopped them.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
No, we don't anymore, actually. They stopped that as well, like the team game nights and stuff as well, because it was just causing too much anxiety amongst the swimmers, I think, having to get up and embarrass themselves. So, yeah, they pulled the pin on that as well.
Yeah.
Did you have to do one in 2016?
2015 was my first team, and yeah, I definitely did quite a few across the years.
Yeah.
The first one actually in 2015 wasn't that bad because I'd injured my back, and I was bedridden because my back kept spasming, but they made me go down to the games night and I just had to stand up and say 2 truths and 1 lie, and they had to guess which was the lie or truths or whatever, and then that was pretty much it. Then I just had to go back up to my room and lay back down, so that was quite nice. I got out of that.
Wait, so with you guys, because on Team USA, it's each trip. So like if you, so to 2015, you did it at Worlds, but you would have had to still do it again if you were on Team USA in 2016 because it was your first Olympic team. So it's like first Worlds team, first Pan Pacs team, first Olympic team. So we're meaner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
ruthless.
We kind of had to, what we did was we separated into teams. So you might have 6 teammates or something, and then the team captains would, or the team leaders, they would run the games night, and then they would make up all these games that one person at a time had to get up and do. So every year you had to do something.
Okay.
But yeah, just sometimes I think I'll be out of control and people started to get pretty nervous about having to get up there and embarrass themselves. And
Yeah, that's fair.
But like,
this day and age, and all
maybe
that,
I'm old
but
school.
back then it was-
I just feel like
I mean,
It's fun.
it's my favorite night.
It's so
hilarious.
fun. Like, just I feel like once you get used to being embarrassed in life, it's a great skill. Like, you don't care. I don't care.
No. We're all silly goose.
For sure. I think some people love it, some people hate it. I personally
Yeah.
never liked it.
Yeah.
But I think as I got older, I learned to just suck it up and do it. But especially early on, I was like, I don't really know these guys. I don't want to get up and embarrass myself in front of some of these people that I really look up to in the swimming world. But yeah, as it got on in my swimming career, you kind of just get used to it. And they're pretty much the same games every year. So you just learnt the game that you were good at and nominated yourself for that game. That's how I did it.
Fair. I have a question about, and it's not necessarily a rapid fire one, but you can answer it briefly. All of you on the Australian dolphin team have a number. We as Americans don't have anything like that at all. Can you kind of explain the tradition of that and what it means, and I guess what your number is?
Yeah, I think that's such a nice tradition. Like when you make the Australian team, you get presented your swimmer number and like a passport and a gold bag with your name and number on it. And it's such a great tradition that we've had for a long time. But my swimming number is 761. So it means that I'm the 761st person to represent Australia in swimming.
Wow.
And yeah, I think that's one of our great traditions that we do. As soon as the competition's done, we'll go straight into a bit of a team camp for a couple of days. And then that's one of the first things they'll do is just induct the rookies each year and give them their swim number and their pin. And then you feel a part of the team, I guess. So I think they're up to close to 900 now. So it means I've had, 120 or 140 teammates in my 10 years on the Australian swimming team now. But it's only for senior swimmers too. It's not for junior teams. So you have to qualify in either a World Champs, Pan Pacs, Com Games, World Short Course, Olympics, one of those. But yeah, I think it's a really cool tradition. They also do it with our coaches as well. Like the coaches get a coaching number and get presented a ring. And then the para swimmers or the Paralympic swimmers also, they get P, whatever number they are as well. So, and then wherever we are, like in the hotel and staging room, or staging camp, they'll always have a big poster with all our swimming numbers up, so you can kind of see the history and who was what number.
Cool.
That's really cool.
I love that tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
number 1.
Oh, sorry. Say it again.
No, you're good. But yeah, right back to number 1 from actually at the Olympics in Paris, however long ago that was, I think was our first ever dolphin swimmer. Freddie Lane, his name was. So it's cool that we kind of know that.
I was going to ask who number 1 is. Yeah. 1904, I think Paris was.
Yeah, so maybe 1904.
Or 1900, something like that. Yeah.
I think he swam maybe the 200 obstacle in the River Seine.
Yeah.
Over a log with a wool suit on.
Yeah. Crazy.
Last question for me, and I could be so wrong on this, but I read that one of your nicknames is Big Tuna. Is that correct? Or no? Or if it is, please tell the story behind that.
I got that really early on, and because where I grew up is a massive tuna fishing community, it's like the fishing capital of Australia. So we fish for bluefin tuna, like they have tuna farms and a lot of people do tuna fishing. So I think that's where it kind of came from, that I kind of came from that town or fishing community, and the name kind of stuck for a little bit, but it's not one that gets called all that much, which is kind of nice. It's kind of transitioned into King Kyle now, which I much prefer than the big tuna.
That's better.
But I did get a tuna tattoo on my leg because I went home one year and one of the local radio ladies said, "Oh, do you want to get matching tuna tattoos for the radio one day?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever." So now I've got a tuna tattoo on my left leg.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
A little bit more than I should have.
Wait, okay. Speaking about tattoos, and this can be my one. What is your most random tattoo?
I've got so many because so many of my mates have tattooed me. Like Adam Peaty's tattooed Adam Peaty's, I got his signature on me that he did himself. But a lot of my mates that I've got Peaty's signature on the back of my leg that he tattooed when he came and had Christmas with me a few years ago.
Wow.
I've got a tattoo of me and Florent Manadou on my leg. I've got a big tattoo of Bruno Fratis on my leg. But I've got a lot of like random mates that have also put their signatures on me, and one of my mates who I went to school with doesn't have a signature at all, so he's just put a big capital B and a big capital D, so people would have no idea what that is, but that's on the outside of my ankle as well. So yeah, unfortunately probably got some tattoos that, not that I regret, but yeah, it's covered up my body. And then, yeah, at least they're meaningful. Like, it's my mates, having a go at it.
Just memories.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get me.
I mean, if you come to Australia, you're more than welcome to come to Adelaide. Like I said earlier on, one of my great mates, the tattoo artist, we can go to his studio. You can,
you love his work
There's
so
not
much.
much free skin on me anymore, but you can pick a spot and go your hardest.
Go your hardest. I can't with you.
I cannot wait. Oh
my gosh. All right, Kyle, we're going to go into our What'd you say? Oh, yeah, we'll get... Okay, so will be your signature. We'll get the logo.
Yeah, perfect. Business
Done.
expense flying over.
Exactly. It's a write-off.
We'll write it off. It'll be fantastic.
We're both like half kidding.
I know. Big tuna, we're coming for you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're going to go into our final 3 questions we asked all of our guests. So the first question is, what is a moment or memory within the sport of swimming that's brought you the most amount of joy?
It's funny, I get asked a question like that quite regularly, and I think it would change every single time I answer it. But I think for me, winning gold in the 4x1 freestyle relay in Fukuoka was really special, because I'd been to quite a lot of world championships, and the first world championship I went to in 2015, we missed the final in the 4x1 freestyle. So did the US, actually. So that was kind of nice that we both missed it together. And then 2019, we got a bronze medal, and then we got a silver the following one. And then to be able to finally stand on the top of the podium and have the national anthem played with my teammates was, a moment that I was super proud of, and just being able to be a part of that transition towards gold, or that, step towards gold, was really nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because to be honest, I stand up. Most of the time we stand on the relays, we get beaten by the US, so we listen to the US national anthem, and I'm always just like, damn, I would love to be a part of that team, because they have each year almost, or each Olympics, it's almost like you guys find four new guys that swim 47 seconds or 46 high in the relays, win a gold medal, and then like the next Olympics, it's 4 completely new guys again. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The 4x1 is interesting that way. Like it does always, I mean, you guys are probably annoyed by that, but it's
like a conveyor belt. It's just like, all right, next.
Yeah.
Next.
It's just pure numbers. It's a volume game. We have more volume over here than you guys in terms of people.
No,
you know?
truly.
Yeah, like you guys have more people signed up or registered swimmers in the state of California than we have in all of Australia. So I think we do pretty well for what we have. Yeah.
No,
I would agree
will
with
say
that.
it till the day I die. I think Australia is one of the most incredible swimming countries. Like,
for
the small amount of people that you have and what you produce, it's wild how good you guys are. Yeah. So
it is.
Great job.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But also on that relay, like we always race after the girls as well in the 4x1 freestyle, and our girls have been so good for so long, and they'll win and break the world record, and like all the recognition and excitement goes towards that. So to be able to finally have our moment, like as men in the 4x1 freestyle, was really rewarding. But also that night in Fukuoka, I think we had Sam Short win the 400 freestyle, Ariane win the 400 freestyle women's, the women win the 4x1 freestyle, and then it was us. So it was like kind of overshadowed again a little bit. But for me personally,
You're like us, an afterthought again. Yeah,
we won.
Yeah,
we did our job.
Thanks, guys. Same question. So a moment that has brought you the most amount of joy or happiness, but outside of the sport and the pool.
Well, I mean, this last period's been crazy. Like, I think getting engaged was amazing, and so much emotion attached to that. But then also finding out I was having a baby was probably number one and trumps that. Like, that was super exciting. And I remember Engie waking me up in the morning because she's retired from swimming now, but I was going to training and she woke me up at about 5 a.m. in the morning and I was like, oh, is it time to go to training already, sort of thing, shattered. Yeah. And then her being like, no, I've just done a pregnancy test and we're pregnant, was, a super special moment in time. And then being able to, I guess, share that news with people and start planning, I think that's a life-changing moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, last question. What is a word that inspires you or motivates you or just serves as a great reminder on the daily of who you want to be?
I don't know. I probably don't have one, to be honest with you. I think now it's probably like legacy. Like I think just reminding myself of the legacy that I want to leave in swimming in Australia or like my own club or as an athlete or as a person, like how I want to be remembered or what I was able to achieve. I think that's the most important to me, word to me now, and a word that gets brought up quite regularly when I'm having meetings with different people or organizations. So I think legacy.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah. Kyle, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you so much also. Glad we were able to get the technical difficulties sorted and get on there.
I know.
No, I mean, nobody was giving up. Like I could feel your energy. We were going to try. We figured it out.
Yeah, when you were like, we're going to persevere.
I said that.
Oh, I thought Kyle said that.
Yeah. But no, I'm really, really excited. Oh, sorry. The connection, I keep cutting you off. I do not mean to do that.
No, you're good. You can go.
Oh.
I'm waiting for you now.
I was just saying I'm so excited now after hearing everything that you're putting in to see how, World Champ Trials goes and Singapore, and I think it's going to be an awesome summer for you. So pumped to watch.
Perfect. Appreciate that. And who knows, maybe I'll be over in the States again towards the end of the year with World Cups, but we'll see how father life's treating me in those first few weeks, but maybe over there and maybe in a tattoo studio over there getting the tattoo done. We'll see.
Oh my God.
Listen, scope it out. It's in Carmel. We'll scope it out.
Kyle,
don't you worry.
Don't you tempt me with a good time, okay? Because I'm in the middle of getting a sticker sleeve and you could have a piece of this real estate, okay? I'm just saying, but only if you and Ingy name your child Elizabeth. So there's a lot on the line.
True. There you go. All right. Well, I'll try and get it over the line with the boss.
Yeah, you can give her my number, my email. I'm willing to talk to Ingy and, talk some sense into her.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, thanks so much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, have an awesome day, Kyle.
Thanks,
we'll talk
Kyle.
to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.